Hello everyone, Judge Sapphire here, and I've wanted to do this video for a while because I love the series Young Justice. It is one of my favourite series of all time, and I wanted to do sort of like a theorizing thoughts video about what I thought could happen in the next season if we got a next season. There are rumours because of voice actors and stuff saying that another season is being worked on, but again, I don't know. And the fact that it's got cancelled for a second time, it's just infuriating because Young Justice is such a good series, and I feel like it's a series that, especially during this time, we need, and it's so irritating and infuriating that they've cancelled it once again, because it is so good, especially after the last season. The animation was beyond beautiful. Like, oh my gosh, the way the Phantom Zone looked. Oh, it was so amazing. But I'm not here to talk about the cancellation. As I said, I want to talk about what I think would have taken place in the next season if it was to carry on. So I've actually had a discussion with a few people about this because I'm very much someone who can sort of predict certain things about movies and series, and everyone hates watching crime shows with me because I'm just like, well, he's obviously the villain, and then when it turns out to be him, everyone's like, can you just leave the room and let us enjoy it? And I'm like, I'm sorry, but it was obvious. But I did that with The Long Halloween. I felt so bad because I watched the first part, and by the end of the first part I was like writing down everything, all the evidence, and who I thought was the murderer and stuff, and it turned out to be right. But anyway, I digress. So when I talked to them, one of my friends, they were like, oh yeah, I can see such and such. This is really what I want to happen in the next season, but I can see that happening and stuff like that. And so they were talking to me quite in depth about that. But one of the other people I talked to about it, they said, I can't really see where it can go from here, because it felt like it just finished quite well. Like, they said they felt like this was a good climax. And I said, no, there is so much they can touch upon. I mean, the last season, they hinted at so much, and especially with the end scene with Kara Zor-El being on Apocalypse with Darkseid and being one of his Furies. Like, oh my gosh, I'm just getting like Superman, Batman, Apocalypse movie vibes from that. And I love it. I just, if they are working on another season, I can't wait to see it. But this is the thing, like, there is so much they can do. They've left themselves so open to so much, and the writing is extremely good. It's well thought out, especially the last season, which was more mystery based and almost like a crime detective, more than the other ones. The other ones felt more typical, like the first season, probably more superhero-y. I would even say that about the third season because of the introduction of Halo and stuff, but it also went into such dark places with the third season, which I loved. It was so good. But I do reckon, like, because obviously Darkseid's not going away anytime soon, neither is Vandal Savage. I'm not quite sure where they stand, like whether they're at odds with each other or not still, or they still got that deal like we saw in the one season when they shook hands and like, yeah, we'll do something together, we're not going to tell the audience yet. And also we know that that journalist, oh, I forgot his name, oh frickin' heck, I forgot his name, I'll put it up somewhere, but we know he's involved somehow. And it's, you know, there's a lot of stuff that's like in the background that's been placed there on purpose, which I know will have a more impact later on with other seasons if they were going to have them. But I definitely know that, like, considering we saw Kara and Miss Marvel, or Black Marvel, I think, something like that. I don't know what her villain name is when she goes on to Black Adam's side. But the fact that she's also a Fury now, it's quite unsettling. Because we had hints of her dark side in the last season, and it's the fact that they've got such powerful Furies is very scary. And this is the thing as well, like, we haven't actually, I don't think we've seen Black Adam in this series so far. Maybe, I can't remember. Mostly it's been like the main villains have been the obvious, with the Beetles, like Black Beetle and all them, and Darkseid and Vandal Savage, and the Light, which included loads of villains, such as Ra's al Ghul, Black Manta, and stuff like that. So I don't think Black Adam's in this, but obviously he does exist in this universe because of the hints that Miss Marvel had towards that, towards her sort of deflecting to the dark side, shall we say. But I do reckon they would have gone down a similar route that we saw in the Superman Batman Apocalypse movie, where we see Kara on the side of Darkseid. And there's been a lot of that in media quite a few times. There's been a few animated shows where they go as evil to begin with and then slowly, you know, because of Superman's influence, turning good. And I don't know if they're going to go that route. I don't know if Superman will be the catalyst, if they were going to turn Supergirl good, or something else would be the catalyst. I feel like that would be more open to, because they've changed a lot of aspects of characters. For instance, Barbara Gordon, she wasn't paralyzed by the Joker shooting her. She actually got paralyzed by Cassie. Is it Cassie Kane? Cassandra Kane, sorry. She actually got paralyzed by Cassandra by accident. So they did change some things. So if they're going to change how Supergirl turns good, if they're going to turn her good, it might be interesting to see her stay a villain. That'd be quite freaky. I love that idea, though. But I reckon they would turn her good because Supergirl is such a beloved character. So I don't know what the catalyst for that would be. I don't even know if, like, she's evil against her will or not. I don't know if she's under some kind of manipulation or mind control. She didn't speak in the last season, so it's obvious they haven't got someone cast for Supergirl because she didn't have a speaking role yet. So I'm not sure how they would approach that with her being evil. And as I said, they've done it so many times, so it was kind of like expected they would do this, because obviously CW has done it with the Earth X crossover, and some animated series in recent years have done her evil. Even in the comic books, they made her a Red Lantern, which is something else I want to touch upon, because my boy Razor was in this season. Oh my gosh, I've been dying for him to return. Oh my gosh. The fact that that series, the Green Lantern series, was cancelled as well, and it was so damn good. It was, so infuriating. It's so sad. Oh, right. Anyway, back. Razor being this, oh my gosh, I think I cried like so much. I was like, Razor, you're back. And it makes sense because the voice actor who plays Razor, he played Kid Flash in this series. He plays Forager in this series. So it was weird hearing Razor and Forager when they were talking, because it's like, this is the same guy doing two different voices, having a conversation with himself, basically, is so good. But seeing him unleash his power of basically combining hope and rage, it was so good. And I mean, Kilowog hinted at it, like saying that we should get you a green ring, and before you know, you have rainbow powers. That really hints to, and I really, this is the thing, this is one of my biggest desires to have in media, is a Blackest Night adaptation, because the comic book is huge, so you can't just do it in one movie, but oh, it's so good and so dark. And the fact they hinted at, like, maybe you have rainbow powers, when you put, at least I think in one of the comic books, they said if you are able to wield all the rings, you become a White Lantern. Which obviously those came about straight after, you know, came out of the catalyst of Blackest Night, where all the Black Lanterns came and zombified everyone. So I don't know if, like, they were hinting at possibly doing a Blackest Night arc in Young Justice. And I would love that, especially since how many people have been killed. Like, for instance, could you imagine Artemis, like, she's on patrol, or whatever she likes to call it. I think she's Tigress now, though. Yeah, she's Tigress now, sorry. So, she'll be on patrol, and then she'll just see this dark silhouette of Kid Flash come up, and it's not quite a Wally, and he rips her heart out of her chest, and she tragically becomes a Black Lantern. That'll be so tragic, but oh my gosh, so dark, and just of Young Justice Alley, like, I think that would really work. And especially where Aya died in the Green Lantern series, where she becomes like white light and dissipates. I can imagine her becoming a White Lantern. And maybe the first White Lantern. I know Kyle Rayner, I think he's often referred to as the first White Lantern, or at least the first human White Lantern. But it'd be nice if Aya was the first White Lantern, she became the White Lantern Corps. Like, oh my gosh, that would be so good. So that's something I kind of desire, and I know it's a long shot. I'm basically taking little hints and making a mountain out of a stone, but I think it would really work in Young Justice. I think the writers of Young Justice could do it so well. Like, and the thing is, because of the universe Young Justice is, they wouldn't have to stay with the comic book arc, because obviously in the comic book arc, Batman returns as a Black Lantern, but it's not actually Batman, because Batman's not actually dead. Darkseid shot him with his Omega beams, which took him back in time and basically turned him into a bomb, which once he gets to the present, he will blow up. Something like that. So obviously, certain events that happen during Blackest Night don't take place in Young Justice. And I don't think that's a disadvantage, because with all the stuff that's happened in Young Justice, they could easily adapt the Blackest Night arc into their universe, especially with how many people have died and stuff. And this is the thing as well, when someone told me that like, there's nowhere else for them to go, I'm like, they gave us so much. Like, we still got the problem with Brion, and like that creepy glasses wielding guy who, you know, leans over his shoulder a lot and makes you feel uncomfortable. Like, what influence does he have? Is he mind controlling him, or is he just like similar to Queen Bee? Does she have some way of manipulating people's minds? Like, not necessarily mind control, but like sort of like a psychological influence. I don't know. So we still got that hasn't been solved. And one thing I also loved so much in the one season when Cheshire, something like that, ends up going back to the League of Shadows, and Grayson and some of the other people are there, and Artemis basically accepts that Cheshire wants to return there and stuff like that. And then when they leave, and the one guy in the obvious red mask goes Grayson, and Rachel goes like, your memory's returning. I am like, oh my gosh, we got Red Hood in this universe, finally! Because we obviously saw the hologram in the Grove as a memorial to the fallen Young Justice members. And obviously that Robin was Jason Todd. They never explicitly said that, but considering we got Tim Drake and Nightwing, it does make sense that this Robin would be Jason Todd, because everyone knows he's the Robin that died. And the fact that, like, we finally get to see Red Hood, like, oh my gosh, it's so good. And then Talia's in the background holding a baby, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we got two Robins basically next to each other. Like, oh my gosh, they got so much that they hinted at. And this is the thing, there is so much that they've put in this that they can spread out for such a long time. Like, I can imagine them doing another 3 to 4 series, because especially with, like, the fact that we got Kara as one of Darkseid's Furies, the hints towards other lantern rings for Razor, the Jason Todd and Damien hints, and still the problem with Brion and stuff. They can't do all this in one season. If they do, they'll over stuff it, and it will become too bloated to have a good story arc. And I think what they were doing was saying it for multiple series. I also still think, like, even though I want the Blackest Night arc to happen, I still think it's a bit early. I mean, as we get on, Artemis's grief to do with Wally is, I wouldn't say getting less, because grief doesn't get less, it just gets more manageable. But you can see her moving on. She's starting to date someone else. And I think maybe at this point, if Blackest Night happened, it would be more raw for her. But I still think it's still a bit too early because of other things that need to be resolved before Blackest Night. I think Blackest Night needs to be... the series is almost like a roller coaster. There's a problem, so you go down and then you go up because you resolve it, and down and up. Like in the last season, it was the suspected death of Superboy, and trying to find him in the Phantom Zone and bring him back and stuff like that. I reckon with Blackest Night, it needs to be a little bit further on. We need to have a few more highs before we dip down, because Blackest Night is such a grim story. It is so sad, and like when you see in the comic books the death of Hawkgirl and Hawkman and stuff like that, I feel like that would have to come later on. And obviously they've hinted at the biggest big bad for the next season, I reckon, which would be Supergirl. I reckon that would take too much of the season up, because the Supergirl is such a prominent character, and she needs all the right attention and stuff to be put into this season, because especially since we've already got Superboy established, and now Superman's got a son, which is Jonathan. It feels like it needs to be introduced gently. I don't know why, but yeah. So that's what I reckon. Like, I reckon they could have done so much more because of what they're hinting at. I also like, because obviously this is not Bat family oriented. Like, there's so many characters in this. And there's a lot of things we didn't get to see apart from within flashbacks. And I reckon that's good as well, because they've opened themselves to further flashbacks in the future with maybe that night between Batman and Talia or something like that. They wouldn't do that in Young Justice, I don't think. But the advantage of them doing time skips is they can go ahead with other storylines while also not actually doing certain story arcs and trying to later on figure out how to introduce that. The reason why I'm saying this is because with Batgirl, we saw her active as Batgirl within season 2 of Young Justice, but then in season 3 she's in a wheelchair. As far as I know, I might be getting the seasons wrong, but I'm almost sure season 3 she's in the wheelchair. And that's because there's a 5-year time skip or something like that. They say something like 5 years or something, and we didn't get the origin of why she was in the wheelchair until the following season. So I think that's a good advantage of, like, with the time skips, that they can go forward in time and then they can do flashbacks when they feel like they can write it better, or certain elements that they've already written fall better within it, or something like that. So I'm kind of glad they've done that, because it means they can really, like, figure out how to do it in a mature way as well, like, and in a unique way. Because the thing about Batgirl getting paralyzed in Young Justice compared to the famous way where everyone knows Joker comes and shoots her, I feel like it's very unusual, because obviously the thing about her getting paralyzed is with the Killing Joke story. We had that Killing Joke movie and that bombed like anything, because oh my gosh, they did it so badly. Like, they made it more about a Batman relationship revenge thing where, like, oh, you hurt my one night stand, so I gotta defeat you now, Joker. It kind of just took away from it, and it was supposed to be more about Joker, not about Barbara, but oh well. So with Young Justice, having it be purely an accident, it was kind of, one, it added to Barbara's character. This is my favourite version of Barbara Gordon, because in Batman the Animated Series, I didn't like her at all. In the 2004 Batman series, I want to call it, I haven't watched all the episodes that involve Barbara Gordon, but from the clips I've seen of her, I don't like her again. And there's not many versions of Barbara Gordon I like, but in Young Justice, I feel like this is the most well put together version of her, because one, she's not arrogant to the point where it's irritating. She's more like confident in herself, and like, she knows her stuff, and she's loyal to Dick Grayson. She's loyal to she's always been loyal to the Bat family, but what I mean by that is she's not sleeping around with other members of the Bat family. They've done that too much, and I don't like that being promoted. Like, oh, you can sleep around in the family. No, just wrong. Like, you don't have a boyfriend and then sleep with his adoptive father, who is, by the way, twice your age. Like, you don't do that. It's gross. So I like this version of Batgirl because she's loyal to Dick Grayson. She's sassy, but she's also very understanding and very like, the thing that got me most was when Cassandra went to kill the Joker and Barbara stepped in the way and she got paralyzed. Nothing about the series shows any animosity from her towards Cassandra. In fact, Cassandra looks to her as a sister. And maybe that's because of guilt, because she didn't hit a target and she hit someone else and ruined their life, in a sense. But it's their relationship is so close, and Barbara doesn't, like, she doesn't have a go at Cassandra. Like, as soon as it happened, she actually grabbed Cassandra's hand and she was like, I was trying to save you and stuff. And I like how they handled that. I like how Barbara's character is more accepting and understanding of things. Because I felt like a lot, especially in the Batman animated series, she was very much like, well, I have to do this my way and no one else can challenge me, that kind of thing. I know best. I've always known best. So don't tell me I don't know what I'm doing. And then she messes up and then she's like, I still knew what I was doing. You didn't have to interfere, that kind of thing. I didn't like that. And maybe it's because this Barbara Gordon is more older than the animated series one. But I just didn't like that version. I just felt she was too, especially to Bruce, too clingy and just full of herself. I just didn't like it. My least favourite is obviously Killing Joke. I didn't like the way they wrote her at all in that. But yeah, I do love this version of Batgirl a lot more. And I think being able to do the story the way they did it with the time skip, being able to go straight to her being in a wheelchair and then later on doing the flashback to it, I feel like that was a good advantage. And I just feel like because of the time skips they keep having, they are able to do so much more regarding flashbacks. Like, I would love to see flashbacks to Red Hood. As in, like, Jason Todd and Batman training, and then maybe, like, I don't know, maybe Batman kept a Red Hood helmet as a souvenir from his greatest mistake before the death of Jason Todd, and Jason Todd admiring it or something. I would like something like that, because that would be so cool, as why psychologically he's so attached. Not just the fact that Joker killed him, but also the fact that he is so attached to the Red Hood persona. Because he would have heard it from Batman, he would have maybe seen the helmet, or maybe there was footage they saw to do with the incident in the warehouse, or, they've opened themselves up to so much interpretation, which is so good, because it also keeps it fresh and new. And this is what I love about Young Justice as well. They are able to keep the atmosphere and the characters to the right scope, but at the same time they introduce something new to it all the time. The way, like, Brion ends up becoming such a strong villain compared to Terra, which Terra sort of disappeared. Same with Cyborg. I'm not happy about that. I wanted more Terra and Cyborg. Maybe because I'm a Teen Titans fan. But I feel like they need to, have more Cyborg. Because Cyborg is such a loved character. And I was always surprised he wasn't introduced earlier. Like, because when he's introduced and, they show the accident and stuff, which, oh my gosh, that was brutal. Like, I expected them to do more with him. And the fact that he wasn't in the last season, I was very disappointed by, because I wanted more Cyborg. And considering I always imagined Cyborg and Dick Grayson as being best friends, but maybe it was because Teen Titans already did that and they wanted to go down a different route. And that's why they didn't introduce Cyborg, or maybe it was because of the rights, or maybe it's because with the New 52 they've made Cyborg much older than Dick Grayson, which I don't like. I don't like New 52 for doing that. Cyborg to me should have been not part of the League in New 52, like, especially with the animated movies. I feel like it should have been, well, one, a lot of people complain about not enough female presence, so maybe they should have brought in, I don't know, any of the other famous female Justice League members, like Hawkgirl or something. But I feel like we already had quite a brutal warrioress with Wonder Woman, which I still hate. New 52 Wonder Woman, hate her. So boring. So bleh. But anyway, I'm digressing. I just feel like I feel like he should have been like a season 2 introduction. But again, that might have been too stuffy because we had all the Roy Harper arc and stuff. And by the way, I love the Harper Squad. I'm just gonna call them the Harper Squad. They're so good. Like the whole, like, fact that they own a company that, you know, slogan is always on point. It's so bad, but it's so good. I love it. And it's something I thought Roy wouldn't do, wouldn't have the puns. Like, he was such a serious character in the first 2 seasons. I just didn't think he would end up owning a company that slogan is a pun. But it's so good. And the fact he has a clipboard that he uses to fight, I'm just like, he resembles more Sokka from Avatar: The Last Airbender with his boomerang. It's just so good. That was my favourite clipboard, that kind of thing. I love it. I love how... This is the thing I love about Young Justice as well, how the characters mature and change over time. And... like, Roy, I think, out of all of them, was the one that matured quite good. Like, he went from being so violent and rebellious to being a family man. And it's very sweet. It's very comforting. And then, obviously, he worked so hard to find his clone, basically. Well, no, his clone. He's the clone, but the original Roy. He worked so hard to find him. And then Superboy as well. He's grown as a character. And it's nice. It's nice to see them develop but still stay the same in a sense. Because they both grow as people, because they both end up with... Well, Superboy ends up getting married. Eventually. Took them a whole season, but they got married. And Roy Harper becomes a family man, and we got Aqualad, who is now Aquaman, because I think Aquaman has retired or something, and so I don't like the beard though. I'm sorry, I just don't like him with a beard. Just makes him look like an underwater Father Christmas. I don't like it. There are moments in Young Justice, I will admit, that I'm not sure about. Like, I think one of the moments in particular that shocked me was in the 3rd season, when we're in part of the Atlantis arc, I'm going to say, so we're underwater, and there's this obviously pregnant Atlantean, and she's under threat. And then Lagoon Boy, I think he's still Lagoon Boy. I don't think he's changed his name. And he goes out, he's like, that's my wife. And then someone else comes out and says, that's my wife. Or something like that. Oh, that's my husband or something. And it confused me because I was like, wait, what? What? Because Lagoon Boy was such a jerk. He was such a freaking jerk. Especially to Superboy. I mean, I know he was dating Miss Martian, but he was such an... Oh, I hated him. And then in the 3rd season, he comes onto the scene, and he's got a wife and a husband. And they're having a kid together. And all of a sudden, he's just this calm, reflective guy, and I'm like, this is not, I don't remember Lagoon Boy having this kind of conscience. So that was a big shock. I guess you can say that's character growth, but one we didn't actually get to see much of. But I was just in shock, because I was like, this guy is such an arrogant jerk in the other season, and then he's somewhat, like, he's almost a different character. Like, he completely had a 160 change, and that was a shock to me. Just in general, just like, but I guess it worked, because again, the time skip, you can think someone like him could change in 5 years. It's more realistic than saying, oh, a few months or a year. 5 years, you can change a lot in 5 years. But I was still shocked that he was such a jerk. Honestly, I did not like Lagoon Boy at all in Young Justice to begin with. Like, at all. It was just so weird. And the other thing I felt really uncomfortable with was, obviously in the first season, or first 2 seasons, Aqualad was in love with a Atlantean, Tula, that's her name. And he couldn't get with her because she was already dating his best friend. And then they didn't show it in the series, but they actually showed it in the Young Justice video game. Tula gives up her life. And I think her last words is, I love you, Garth, or something. So I love my boyfriend, basically. And obviously Aqualad is brokenhearted because Tula dies. But then in the last season, we see Aqualad and Garth together. And it just feels, not that that's wrong, just his girlfriend dies, who you were in love with. So you feel like getting together, like, it felt like, okay, the missus is out of the way, we can get together now. It kind of felt like that. I was like, no, just maybe get with other people, but you were both in love with the same woman and now you're together. It just felt really odd to me. But yeah, there are certain elements that I felt like were odd, but I still, like, for the overall of it, I still love it. I love how the characters are written. I love the banter. I love the humor. And, they could carry on so much with all that. And it would just be so good. And especially since they seem to keep getting darker. That's why I also think Blackest Night would be so great. Because we haven't actually had a Blackest Night arc in media. Like, besides it being a comic book, we haven't had an animated movie or series of movies. We haven't had a series on it. And I just feel like Young Justice would be the appropriate environment for a Blackest Night arc. Because of how well they are good at handling dark subjects. And doing it in a unique way. And I fully admire the writers, because they did such a good job especially in the last season, like having it like references all the way back to season 1 and 2. Oh, it was so damn good. I just love it. I just love how well they've done these. And then the fight between Clarion and Child, I think her name is, that was freaking tense and weird. But I just, they've opened themselves up to so many other story arcs, and I just can't wait to, like, if they were gonna do, like, if the rumors are true and they do make another season or more seasons, like, maybe they would do a Nerd 2 and then get cancelled again, and then do a Nerd 2 and get cancelled again. Like, I can imagine that happening. But I think also because they got cancelled, it meant that they could almost, like, work just as hard for a longer period of time. There was no rush for the next season. They could really think about it and assess what they were going to do in the next seasons. Because especially since, like, we saw the future heroes, so I can't remember what they're called, but I think they're like the Legion or something from the future. And so we saw like Saturn Girl, I think it was, and Ghost Girl and something like that. So that is good because we also got that. And maybe, because I know a few versions of media have touched upon Supergirl ending up in the future, like being, and maybe that's how they were going to do it. Maybe they were going to turn Supergirl good and then send her to the future, or maybe I don't know, that'll be a later on thing when she gets sent to the future, or maybe she doesn't get sent to the future at all. But usually Supergirl and the Legion are quite linked. Like, we saw it in Justice League, the animated series. We saw it in one or two animated movies that are linked to Crisis on Infinite Earths or something like that. And she didn't go to the future, but the Legion was in the Supergirl CW series, especially with Brainy. And I can imagine them going that route. And again, because of the Legion, I can imagine them introducing Brainiac as well. Because now we've got the daughter of Krypton in Young Justice. They could easily bring Brainiac into this. And then we can have a civil war between... No, not a civil war. We can have a war between Darkseid and Brainiac like we did in Justice League, but more dark. I would love that. That'd be so good. And actually, I can imagine that being a massive challenge towards Vandal Savage, because Brainiac is such a hard villain to destroy, because in a way, like Ultron, even if there's an ounce of him left, you know, he comes back. You can't just, you know, leave him alone. You gotta eliminate every part of him. And it'd be interesting to see, like, if they were going to do Brainy. Thing is, they got so many characters already. They got so many story arcs. But I'm just being hypothetical in this video, because I'm just thinking about what they could do in the future, or what they might have done in the future. Because to me, Young Justice is a masterpiece, and the writers are so talented that they could easily take any comic book arc and make it their own. Like, I can imagine them doing that with so many stories, and they don't even have to do origins. Like, they're very good at, like, obviously they got some hints towards origins. They got it in flashbacks and stuff like that, where it's appropriate, like the Graysons and Barbara and all that. So I can imagine maybe if Brainiac comes in doing flashbacks to Krypton, because I don't think we've actually seen Krypton in Young Justice. I don't think there's been anything like that. So with Supergirl coming into it, there might be more hints towards flashbacks with Krypton. I don't know. It'd be cool if there is. So yeah, overall, I think these are the things I think about the most, because obviously I'm looking at things that are pretty evident in the series. So the Jason Todd and Damian Wayne hints, the Supergirl ending with Miss Marvel, and then we got obviously Kilowog mentioning about the rings, and I don't think Razor would become the first White Lantern. I reckon I would love it to be Aya. I would love that to be how they reunite, because that would be so sweet. And obviously Razor goes off and he says, I will find you, I will, and that hints at him getting a green ring. Though we didn't see a green ring follow him, not like in the Green Lantern series where we saw the blue ring follow him. No, we only saw him go in the distance, but it does hint at that. And obviously he has great love for Aya, so he easily could wear a pink ring, or violet, or whatever they call it. And there's so much they can do, and I'm so excited to see what happens. Like, I really am. Like, I'm just sad that they cancelled it again. But if they are working on it, a lot of the stuff I've mentioned is what I would love to see. I would love to see Jason Todd and Damian Wayne. I think Damian Wayne's a bit young at the moment. It might have to be in a time skip before we actually see Damian Wayne. But considering Jason Todd's memories are starting to be reawakened, I would like to see Jason Todd, like, maybe not in the next, like, I'm picturing this as if it wasn't cancelled, but if they had another 2 seasons, I would like to see Jason not necessarily in the next season, but the season after. And I would like to see, like, I would like to see Supergirl become good, but I don't know what the catalyst would be for that. I would like to see more Cyborg as well, because I really wish he had more screen time. And this is something else, my last little bit. There are certain characters that are not in Young Justice yet, and I really, as much as I would like certain ones to be introduced, because of the way the characters are in the seasons and how they've been established with their relationships and stuff, there are certain characters I wouldn't want to see, such as Starfire. And I know that sounds so bad. I don't want to see Starfire come into this. At least not in the way she did. Maybe she could come in as maybe a romantic interest for Jason Todd instead. I don't know. So changing the dynamics. Though Jason Todd, I think he's in a relationship with a character called Artemis. Not as in the one in the Archer we see in Young Justice, but the Amazonian redhead. I think he's in a relationship with her, but I can't remember. But if they were going to bring Starfire in, which I don't think they had it set to bring her in, though they brought Cyborg in, and considering we got Beast Boy and Nightwing, I'm just thinking they're going to try and bring other Teen Titans into this, even though it's called Young Justice. Like, I don't, as long as it's written well, I wouldn't want to see Starfire introduced yet into this universe. And this is a thing as well. I want to see more Katana and Metamorpho, because they were the original outsiders and we haven't actually seen much of them. So I like a bit more of them in the series. But one character I'm thinking might be introduced as well, considering all the hints towards magic and stuff. And, you know, we've had so many big bads, and there's one big bad we haven't had yet. And considering the status with Beast Boy, where he had basically what I'm going to call a mental breakdown, and he's going for therapy, he's got a dog, which is, oh my gosh, so cute. And his relationship with the princess has terminated, so they're no longer together, meaning he's single. I hope that I'm just being hypothetical, because there's no hint of this whatsoever, but he's single again, which means there's an opening for another character to come into play, such as Raven. And I would love to see Raven in this universe. I really would. I know Terra's in this universe, and they might try and get Beast Boy and Terra to be together. But I would like to see Raven in this universe, and I'd like to see sort of like maybe she's dealing with her own emotional baggage, and Beast Boy, because he's going for counselling and stuff, can empathise with her and help her become more grounded. I don't know, but I would love that, because the fact that Beast Boy is now single, and it's sad that his relationship was terminated in the series, it does leave it open for another character to get with him, which I'm hoping is Raven. Just end off. Just, I know Terra's in this, but nope, Raven. Just Raven every time. Everyone knows Raven and Beast Boy belong together. Everyone knows that. So, there. End of story. Beast Boy and Raven. Bring Raven into Young Justice. I shall petition. Get Terra onto this. Oh my gosh. Could you imagine Terra Strong in Young Justice as Raven? That'd be so cool. Because I think the guy who plays Beast Boy, he's the Beast Boy from Teen Titans and Teen Titans Go, I think. I can't remember. But yeah, that's something I would love, because the fact they leave their cells open to so many routes they can go down, it's brilliant. And it does feel like they write it very clever, because they think ahead of like, oh, we're going to hint back to this, and this can be used later on for this, and stuff like that. They're really methodical in how they write. So I would love it if I could see Raven be brought into this. It would be so good. And I know then it means the only one missing is Starfire, but I don't know. As long as they can handle her in a mature way, I wouldn't mind. But I don't want it to be like in the one comic book arc where Batgirl and Starfire were sort of both both with Grayson, like overlapping, like especially when Grayson had like a one night stand with Barbara the night before his wedding to Starfire or something like that. I don't know. But I don't want anything like that. I want Barbara and Dick Grayson to be them two together, end of. And I would like Starfire to be introduced in some way different. Like in a... Because they're very good at changing origins and... while keeping the same themes. They're very good at doing that. So that's what I would like. But yeah, anyway, I've rambled a lot, so I'm sorry about that. I just wanted to share my thoughts of what I think Young Justice should have included. Because I love Young Justice. It's such a good series. And there's so much they could have done. And so much there's so much I wish they were allowed to carry on doing instead of being cancelled every time they do 2 seasons. Like, it's just not fair. Because it's so good. The voice acting is brilliant. The animation just keeps on getting better every season. It's just beautiful. So basically, stop cancelling Young Justice, bring it back, and these are what I want to see. Or I think they were hinting at. There's probably other things I forgot to mention that I think they were hinting at, and that's where I jump in, because I was realising while editing this that all these elements that they've introduced, especially in the last season, can overlap or be pieced together like a jigsaw puzzle to make a story arc. So obviously Supergirl is on Apocalypse, so if Superman finds that out, he might try and rescue her, which means Batman, being his best friend, might try and help him, which means possibly Batman might be killed supposedly by Darkseid during that arc, which could lead to Blackest Night, which could lead also to the Battle of the Cape and Cowl, which still has not been shown in media, where Jason Todd tries to fight for the mantle of the Bat, and then that way they can introduce Red Hood, and then when that happens, Nightwing will have to come and fight Jason Todd, and maybe they can incorporate some of the members of Young Justice to come and help him out, but overall, it will have to be him who decides that he has to come Batman, and then he could take Damian Wayne later on under his wing when Batman is still absent. They could do so much more. It's actually so much that's open to possibility with this, because the story arc can easily incorporate all these elements together to make one story or to influence one story. It's so good. I love the possibilities that are just available, because Supergirl somehow they gotta get to her. And I can't imagine Superman would do it on his own. I would imagine Batman goes, and maybe that's how he dies. He goes to help Superman rescue Supergirl. Darkseid kills him. And maybe Batman kills him in the process. I don't know. But they could easily just make it their own. Just take influences from Superman, Batman, Apocalypse. Influences from Blackest Night. And incorporate that within their story arc. I think that would work so well. Anyway, I'll go back to myself as I'm finishing off this video. These are the main points. And a lot of it is me being a fan wanting these to happen. Because obviously I've loved DC most of my life. I love the character arcs. I love what they've done with, their character growth and the variety of characters they have in it, and the jokes and the humor. It's so good, and the way they handle topics is so good. So yeah, that's what I would like to happen. So yeah, anyway, thank you for listening, watching, whatever, and hopefully, if the rumours are true, we will get future Young Justice seasons. And hopefully some of the things I mentioned may appear. So, in the meantime, take care and see you in the next video, whatever that will be. So, bye-bye. Bye.